Hi, I'm Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood, and I am here today to talk about my product, Deck Restoration Plus Deck and Wood Stain. We also have other products for restoration, from brighteners to strippers and so forth. But today we're going to talk to you about our stain. Our stain can be applied to wet wood or dry wood. It could be damp wood. Point being is, it really helps with the scheduling, helps with the weather and so forth. We can get right to jobs. So today we're going to do a demonstration of the advantage of using this. It is a penetrating water base, which is unlike a lot of water bases that are film forming. So this is more like the water base stain that performs like an oil base. So today we're going to do that, and that's why I wanted to do this right on the video. Is we want to be able to put this right in water. This is soaking it. You can see the water dripping off of it. Soak that thing real good, and we'll set that down, and we'll let that sit as we talk about the deck and wood stain for a minute, and then we're going to do a dry wood and a wet wood. The benefits of this, the fact that obviously easy with scheduling, it's water based, so you don't have much to worry about when it comes to mold and mildew. The problem with oils is they have starches in them, and those starches can attract mold and mildew. They become a food source for the mold and mildew. We don't have an oil base, we have the water base. It doesn't lap up very easy. If you have a hot day, you could wet the deck, actually bring the temperature down, and then go ahead back and stain. If you're doing maintenance coats, after we've done the first application and we come back to restain, it's really easy because we could actually clean it, grab a cup of coffee, grab lunch, whatever, and then come right back and stain it in the same day. So it's a really, really neat product that has many advantages. Another big advantage is the retention. When we come back 2-3 years later on that horizontal surface, it's amazing what it still looks like. So that's why it's really easy to do a re-clean and then a recoat. So the first time out, we recommend a two-coat application on all surfaces. On maintenance, 2 coats on horizontal and a single coat on the verticals keeps it looking nice and fresh all the time. So we only have to really detail clean or strip or whatever we have to do to get it right one time. After that, it's just maintenance. We do recommend on the horizontal surfaces maintenance of 2 to 3 years. You can go longer on the verticals, that's why we say 1 coat. So anyway, we have put the, we've let it sit a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead and, this is our Moorestown Brown, and we're gonna go ahead and put that on the wet wood, and then we're gonna put it on the dry wood as well. And the idea is 2 things. One is that the wet wood and the dry wood should both look very similar by the time we're done. Now we'll let that sit up, and then we'll put on another application. We do recommend what we call a wet on wet application, which means you let it sit for 10 minutes or so and try to get another coat on there. If it's a hot day, 10 minutes is about, and this time of year, we're in the summertime now, 10 minutes is probably a good time to go back over that second coat. If it's cooler out, 30 minutes and you're fine. And just while I'm doing that, or letting that dry, these are 2 we use the Medford cedar on. And if you look at it, you can't tell the difference between the wet wood or the dry wood. And one was wet wood or dry wood. And you can see by looking at the side view that stain actually penetrates into the wood. It does not sit on top. It's not a film former. So that's why when you come back in 2 or 3 years, any of the wear, you're still seeing a lot of the retention and the color. When it's a film form, it sits on the surface like a lot of products do. What happens is once the dog scratches it or the furniture scratches it or the steps wear, all you see is bare wood. If it goes into the wood, then you're still going to see color even if you get a scratch or something like that. So again, that's Medford cedar. It's dried. This is actually from May 8th of this year in a class that I taught, and you can see like you couldn't tell the difference. And that's going to be the same thing when we do the Moorestown Brown. Initially it looks different on the wet and dry, but then as it does the second coat and it completely dries, you're going to have the same color and tone. The other thing that we like about the wood, or the stain in regards to scheduling, is the fact that if it were to rain today, we can still get back to the job tomorrow. If you're doing landscaping or window cleaning, if you're a homeowner, no matter what you're doing, there's no reason you can't get right back out to that job and stain or seal that and get that protected. Forest Products Lab, Western Red Cedar Lumber Association, most of them will tell you to get something on the wood as soon as you possibly can to preserve it and take care of it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it on as soon as possible. Many of us are challenged by the weather, from the heat to the rain, all different times of the year, whether we're in the Northeast or the Pacific Northwest, a lot of rainy seasons, that kind of stuff, humidity, those things that can affect your oil-based coatings do not affect the water base. So the fact that we have a penetrating water base that performs like an oil, don't have to worry about mold and mildew. We have excellent retention. The colors are excellent. We have 6 different colors. They come from Burlington Gold, which is our natural. We have a Seneca Brown, which is our light brown. We have our Morristown Brown, which is our dark brown. And then we also have Medford Cedar, Chemung Red, and Barnegat Gray. For those that are curious, the Barnegat Gray, we came up with that because the gray has become one of the most popular colors, both for composites and for wood stains as well. So we have 6 different colors to cover pretty much all the spectrum of the tones that we want for our naturals on a deck. And the reason we like naturals is we still want the grain to show through. We want to accentuate the grain and still give it a little bit of tone. Then that's what we have with our products. The Burlington Gold being natural, most products, when they don't have a clear, there's a little bit of tint to it, and that's where you get your UV protection. So our natural has a little bit of tone to it, but it's enough to give it UV protection and just basically give that wood that wet look when we restored it. So again, we're just putting on our Morristown Brown. We're gonna let that dry. That'll sit up and it'll look like 2 nice even coats when we get to that, when that dries completely. If it rains on top of this, we're a little bit concerned over that first 15 minutes to 30 minutes. After that, we're in pretty good shape. So a lot of people say, well, how long after can it rain? It's pretty good shape after that too. If it's 2 hours later, you have nothing to worry about. But usually within 30 minutes, you're in good shape because it dries really, really quick, and you can at least get that other coat on. That's why we talk about wet on wet, so we can get that second coat on before it completely dries. So anyway, there are the advantages of using Deck Restoration Plus Deck and Wood Stain. We have a lot of great colors, a lot of great stuff coming. We also have other products as well, as far as we have our cleaner, we have our restorer, we have a stripper, and we also have our brightener. So we can cover every area that the deck needs to be restored. If it's old and gray, we can clean it. There's a little bit of stain, a little bit of discoloration, a lot of heavy organic growth, we have a restorer that takes care of that. If there's an old coating on there that needs to come off for whatever reason, we have the stripper that can do that, and then we have the brighteners that bring back the natural wood, or the tone of the wood. When you put all that into the prep, the better the prep, the better the end result, and that's what happens with the Deck Restoration Plus Deck and Wood Stain, and then the uniformity of it. So that's it for me and Deck Restoration Plus Deck and Wood Stains. I hope this video helps you decide whether or not you want to use our product, and I think I've outlined enough that there's no reason why you wouldn't.